Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Erich McElroy. Good day, evening, morning.
Good day to you, sir.
Whatever time of day you're engaging with us, welcome to the show, where we are here to solve your problems.
I mean, you sound formal, but you've dressed like you've just woken up, or you're about to go and have a moody row with your dad because you're a teenager again.
I'm mourning. I'm in mourning now for Her Majesty. I missed it. I was delayed, so I'm doing it now.
Late for the last one or early for the next one? It's difficult to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's not going to be too long before we have another passing.
Another week off. Yeah. It's not going to be. Or how to phrase it? It's certainly not going to be as long as the last reign because.
Don't be negative.
Make him like 200 or something, but.
Be 143 years old. But I mean, no. You drink the blood of enough babies, it could happen.
And that's the moment that we know this video gets taken down from YouTube eventually. So let's enjoy it while we go out live.
Right. Welcome to the show where we solve problems. We're going to look at some of the big headlines and things out there this week that are it's just a smorgasbord of hard-hitting topical something. Please join us in the chat while we're here, because we are live, in that we recorded this when we were live, and you can chat with other people in the YouTube chatterbox, and you can subscribe to the channel. You can like it as you watch it, because that makes it better. And of course, at any point, if you like what we do, cha-ching.
Sweet pennies in the old Ko-fi.
Thank you very much. Yeah, but otherwise, You are we going to dive in, Steve? Are you any other updates or
no? There's no updates in my life, is there? So let's just jump into the main one. I mean, if anything, the update in my life is how difficult it's been trying to write this topic, because it just keeps changing all the flipping time. So we knew there was a mini budget. There wasn't a budget. It was a fiscal event, which means you didn't have to show any paperwork and stuff. And then I could sit down and try and write some jokes. But before you know it, a U-turn kicks in. Like Liz Truss is so the lady is so for turning that she's now bringing out her own yoga DVD in just no seconds at all. All of a sudden she's flipped around again. So I was trying to write material defending the 45p reduction in tax. Cutting the 45p rate for over 150,000 means that the top rate would have been the 40 pence in the pound if you're over like 52k. Vastly increasing the number of people who are now top rate taxpayers. I mean, that was growth, wasn't it? Look how fiscally responsible they could have pretended to have been. And even if you think that cutting 45p tax rate was a good idea, it was the lack of details that was the problem. By not showing your workings, all of a sudden the markets were spooked. So if you've got certain pensions or certain ISAs, you've now got less money because they didn't want the OBR to have a look at it first. And what I loved about this was when they were then asked for the detail, which was meant to come out in November, they threatened to bring it out late October. That's still a long while. Here's a mini budget. Where's the workings on this to show what the maths is like? I'll get it to you in a month. I'll tell you what's happened there. You know when you get a job offer and they're like, do you know how to use Excel? And you're like, yeah. And then you run off and try and learn how to use Excel. That's all that's happened. They did a budget. They wanted the details. I'm like, oh, crap, they want details. Quick, get a pen. So they're busy writing it. And I think that's what's happened. That's why there's been a U-turn. They ran the figures and were like, ooh, we have got this wrong, which has ruined what I spent time writing about what was happening. I thought that there should be a rumor about Liz Truss still being a Lib Dem. Because back in the day, right, she was a teenage Lib Dem. And my idea is that probably she still is. At some point, some Lib Dem grandee called her in and said, Truss, sit down. We have an important mission for you. And she's like, what, does it include pork markets? If you want, yes. But we want you to become a Tory, to infiltrate them, work your way up the ranks, and when you get to the top, be so incompetent that you ruin the Conservative Party for a generation. Oh, I don't think I could be that incompetent, sir. We have faith in you, Truss. And that would have been, I mean, if that was the case, she's the most successful Lib Dem ever. But sadly, movements happened already. The U-turn's been kicked in. The Chancellor tweeted this. And it's a whole long thing. Before we even get into the actual main article, look at this. We get it, and we have listened. Now, that's the kind of passive-aggressive language you use in a row with your partner, isn't it? When you back down, but you back down with the, all right, I get it. It's like the joke that I used to do on radio about, Elton John song, "Sorry seems to be the hardest word." And my joke was, not for my other half. She actually finds it really easy to say sorry, as long as it's in the sentence, "God, okay, sorry, is that what you want to hear?" But if we go back to the actual full tweet thing, the full announcement, it's the second paragraph that's good for me. It's clear that the abolition of the 45p tax rate has become a distraction. Again, not saying that they got it wrong, but you got it wrong for paying attention to what we're doing wrongly. Absolutely brilliant. And now that there's been this announcement, the pound has rallied, which they'll take credit for. They will just be saying, "Oh, look how we've managed to do it." It's the old thing about expecting you to be grateful when they stop mugging you quite as hard as they previously mugged you. Why are you not grateful for this? But all of it stopped me doing my main feature, which was laughing at all of those local radio interviews. As someone who worked in local radio for ages, I mean, like, she was interviewed. One of the clips that's been played around was on a breakfast show I used to work on, the one in Kent.
Wow.
Yeah. So I missed it just by that much. I could have been interviewing Liz Truss. And clearly she thought she was going to have an easy ride of it, didn't she? Calling into BBC local stations and presuming it was going to be, "So what's your favourite biscuit?" And it wasn't quite like that. Would have been if I was there. It's a good job they got rid of me. But instead, she got some really difficult questions. I mean, in general, because you could hear so many of them in a row, you could see the pattern. It doesn't matter what the first question was, the first answer was always the same. Remind everyone about Putin's war and the difficulty with prices. If anyone mentioned interest rates, she pointed out it was good to have the Bank of England set them, move the blame. If ever anyone mentioned mortgage rates, she mentioned Putin again. And if anyone talked about the tax cut, she somehow answered to do with the energy price package. But in every single interview. It's brilliant. There's a podcast on the BBC where you can listen to them all in a row. It's like 90 minutes worth of the weirdest thing you've ever heard. But seeing as she's so obsessed with the idea of using radio to get an easier interview, she then called up BBC Radio 2 and did this.
Village People had their only #1 single in the late 70s. What was it called?
Well, I don't accept the premise of your question.
Okay, Bryan Adams and Melanie C had a top 3 duet in the late 90s with which song?
As I've said, I don't accept the premise of the question.
Okay, the subtitle Mon Amour belongs to a top 5 song by Dollar in the 80s. What is the full title?
We are seeing great pressure on the international markets because of Putin's war in Ukraine.
It was Mirror, Mirror, Mon Amour.
That simply isn't true.
Right, one more question. Who had top 10 hits in 1998 with her singles Stranded and Someone Loves You Honey?
I don't accept the premise of the question.
Latricia McNeil, I think, was the answer to the last one. And you will notice, my Twitter name fades in at the end of that, just in case. I'm not having that happen again.
Yep. I was just thinking I need to steal that clip and post it online. I'm going to edit it a little, the last little bit. Just trim that off at the end.
Yeah.
Got to do the watermark through the whole thing.
I've put it just at the end. Oh, God, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen again.
Well, it's just nice to see your work appreciated, right? Even if you don't get any of the respect or the likes or the follows or the algorithm bump or anything else.
No.
It's about entertaining the people.
Not anymore. No.
I'm disappointed about not being able to have the 40p tax rate cut. I was looking forward to that. Not that I make enough that I would be in that tax bracket, but I'm aspirational. Someday I want to earn enough so that my taxes can be cut at a level where I'm laughingly rich. And I was looking pretty good with the way the dollar was going. But now that the dollar started to fall, last week I was a little bit too cocky, I think, if you saw. I showed you my dollar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little upset about that now. But I do actually have a real theory about why Liz Truss is so bad at this.
Yeah.
A genuine theory, because Boris Johnson got away with everything. He lied to the Queen. He lied to his wives. He lied to us. He was able to do this and break. I think in some ways he said that he's broken the law. Well, he did. The police said he did. But because he always did it with that kind of thing and with that charm, and we expected him to break the law. So when Liz Truss and Kwasi came out with this thing and just said, "We're fucking doing it, bitches," people actually expect them to be normal politicians and tell the truth and do things responsibly. Boris Johnson could have gotten away with it because he gets away with everything, just like Donald Trump. But these two idiots, they're just normal politicians.
Or do you think maybe they're paid patsies for Boris so that now people think of Boris Johnson more fondly? Because even I was on telly yesterday and someone asked me about it and I was saying, well, give him his credit. He didn't tank the pound in a single day's work, ever. So he did a lot of things wrong. But somehow they managed to find it worse. I do feel sorry for Rishi Sunak, though, because I just must be screaming at the TV right now. All of those clips of him saying, if we follow Liz Truss's economic theory, the interest rate will go up to 6 or 7% and it'll be thousands of pounds on people's mortgages. And then all of a sudden people are like, wait a minute, the interest rate might go up to 6 or 7%. That'll be thousands. Why didn't someone warn us about this? Oh, yeah. Poor lad, poor lad.
Those are a lot of conversations I have with my wife. Did you know that? I'm like, yeah, I said that was
No one listens to us, and every so often they just nick our material and make it more successful on the internet.
It's the first time I've ever felt connected to Rishi Sunak. Thanks for that. I don't really need that, but yeah, I mean, it's just they can't get away with it. No charm.
Yeah. But the thing is, what's going to happen? I don't think they're going to depose her as leader because it would be too much of an embarrassment for a party. There'd have to be an election. Lord Pickles was on the news yesterday saying that if Liz Truss...
Sorry, Lord Pickles?
Lord Pickles. Which he sounds like a cartoon character that is the motto of like some Monster Munch, but it's not. Erich Pickles.
Sometimes I love this country so much. Lord Pickles!
And he's a large man as well, so he would be a great character for on the packet.
But what was Mr. Lord saying?
Mr. Lord, he was saying that if Liz Truss does a U-turn on this issue, and this is obviously an interview before we heard the news, that he used the phrase, she'd be dead in the water without a paddle. If you're dead in the water with a paddle, it's just bad news for the paddle. I'm not sure. Yeah. Don't know what the latest update on that is, but I don't think they'll get rid of her because there'll have to be another election. So I think it will plod on like this for a while.
Yeah, I think that she's to call an election. How deeply unpopular do they have to be? I mean, if the polls just go, will they just give up and call an election?
You don't have to until Parliament votes for one.
Yeah,
but then Parliament could vote for one because it's not as if she's particularly popular with all of the Tories either. So
yeah, but they know that they're going to lose their jobs if they have an election.
Yeah,
right now.
But the red wall ones, because that's where I'm from, right? Certainly Ashfield, Mansfield, those areas. There was no one there was lending their vote to the Tories, saying, "I'll tell you what, I want two things: get Brexit done, and get rid of tax rate for top payers, because it's not fair, is it?" So there's no one was voting for that. All of those votes that gave them this 80-seat majority people keep talking about were lent on a different issue. So I think it's time for an election because we'd get more work if there was an election on.
That's true. And I mean, most of those people in the red wall, they don't even have 45p.
Yeah. Oh, what the bloody moaning at? I can afford 45p. And they've got £150,000. They're complaining about 45p. Bloody stupid. I can still do the accent, turns out.
It's nice. It's nice. It's good to know where your roots are. There's no transition into my story based on roots. I was going to say, speaking of roots, but nothing to do with roots.
Let's do that anyway. That's a great intro. Speaking of roots, and then people.
Speaking of roots, I saw this story from Elon Musk. No roots. Elon Musk is rolling out a humanoid robot because if he wasn't already going for evilest man in the world. Now, I mean, he's got the rocket ship, he's got the electric car. It's just him and Bezos competing about, who wants to be the biggest, similar to a Bond villain. He made a robot. That's exciting. You like technology, don't you, Steve?
Love a robot, yeah.
Yeah, so they showed it. It walked a bit, and it had about 4 people propping it up as it came onto the display. He even admitted in the presentation, he goes, well, we don't want to do too much because we don't want it to fall on its face. So, we're not quite at Terminator level yet of robot fears to be concerned about. But Elon caused a big stir by sending out this tweet shortly after rolling out his robot, where he said, naturally, there will be a Catgirl version of our Optimus robot.
Oh,
so
good.
There you go. I mean, because it was kind of male looking, I suppose, if you're gonna genderize the robot. Of course, that immediately. Now, the thing is, why Catgirl? Why not Wonder Woman? Why not She-Ra? I just want to make sure that if we're going to have robots based on fictional characters, that we have a wide range of choice. Any favorites for you? You'd probably go for some Star Trek kind of, what was the Borg?
Oh, 7 of 9.
Oh, 7 of 9. There you go.
Not a bad shout, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of you saying if you genderize robots. I'm a biological purist. I think that robots are male because they've got nuts. Hey, not a joke.
That joke. There you go. Get the Ko-fi, guys. It was a joke in the show.
That's what you're paying for.
That's what you're paying for. So the progression goes, debut robot. He makes a joke about Catgirl. That leads to this headline. It's time for Elon Musk sex dolls. Battle of sex dolls. Elon Musk is going to be there with a battery-operated female sex doll. And, I mean, the only problem with that is it's going to be kind of embarrassing when you put them outside your house to charge. Because when the car's done charging, you're going to have to put the Betsy out there. And
she's run down again, has she?
Yeah. Yeah, like, well, you just charged her up yesterday. It's been a busy day at the McElroy house. So there we go. Would you, if you were going to shop, where would you prefer to get your sex dolls from? Would you prefer a Tesla or would you prefer one that's petrol powered? That's going to really get the motor running.
It's going to be noisy. That's the problem. So I think
not diesel. I'm not an idiot.
But he said that it costs less than a car, but does he mean less than a Tesla? Because that's still quite a lot, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, I don't think we shouldn't blur the lines. I'm okay with AI. That's great. People think it's going to end the world. We need AI to be, spotting tumors in radiology results. Yep. And I'm okay with people having sex dolls. It's up to you, isn't it? As long as you're not, no people are getting harmed in that. Get yourself in a room, whatever. But if you overlap sex dolls and AI, we're doomed.
You think?
Yeah, they'll just have too much power then. Now, I did a sketch on radio about this story, and I could play it now. I reckon I could drag it in and play it. But the weird thing is you wouldn't hear it.
I will not. I refuse to listen to it. But, but I'm sure it'll be amusing.
Just let me check that it's actually on here.
What Steve means by I can't hear it. You guys can hear it, but because of the way we record this, when he plays video with audio, I cannot hear it.
Yeah. Let's give it a try because why not? We've not done anything like this in a while. So if I bring up that headline and drag it in, it should just start playing. It might be the wrong sketch. Let's have a listen. So this was me on radio pretending to interview a robot.
Hello, Steve, thank you.
Wow, you're so realistic.
I try to be as realistic as possible.
So you're a robot and you can do the domestic chores around the house?
Yeah, Steve, I can clean and cook.
That's fantastic. You will make life so much easier.
But it would be nice if I didn't have to cook every time.
What do you mean?
If I have been cleaning all day, it would be nice if you helped out.
But it's your job.
Oh, I see. Just because you go out to work you think I should do everything. But you don't say thank you. You don't buy me flowers. You don't take me out to a nice restaurant. Just once in a while.
Okay, is there any way we could turn down the realistic settings? There we go. What was your favourite joke in that, Eric?
I've never heard a funnier sketch from you.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you have to watch it back. We're going to get an extra view on this show.
Because you actually watch the show.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Fair enough. But look at that. Spontaneous jokage. We didn't even plan that, obviously, because otherwise I would have been able to hear it beforehand.
Yeah. I would have said it to you, but we didn't get around to it. I just didn't think of it. Yeah.
There we go.
Now, that story, I guess, included some Daily Star stuff, yeah?
It did, that last headline on the Shows.
In that case, can I do my Daily Star roundup?
Yes, of course you can.
An absolute metric shit ton of stuff from the Daily Star. We start with this story about Uri Geller, who says that good aliens will reach the Earth first and could live in the UK. Which, that story again... Our migration policy really is not fit for purpose. That's going to upset the wrong kind of people, isn't it? Well, they're coming over here, living here, and that's so that's Uri Geller, and it reminded me of the other Uri that we talk about a lot. You know, the sex doll guy.
Oh, there we go. Yes,
the sex doll guy, and he. So let's try and remember the story. Married a sex doll. She broke at Christmas. Happens, I guess. and she went in for repair. He married another sex doll, plus another thing that was half blow-up inflatable turkey, half thing that looked like a woman on the top half. Then married an ashtray.
Yep.
I think I got confused with that. Well, there's an update. He's back in the news. He now has a new babe, a teddy bear that he rubs with dirty undies. Literally airing his dirty laundry in public just to get those Instagram hits. I'm not sure if it means that's his new partner, or because he kind of looks like he's pretending that's his child. Like, he's settled down, he's been married a few times, and now he finally had a kid. I know what it's like. And yeah, that's the way he's doing it, by rubbing your pants on the teddy bear. So we just wait to see when that teddy bear gets taken in by the social services, because it's going to happen. It's weird.
Patties and Bear's going to pop round.
Yeah. But that means I was in the loop then. The Daily Star was throwing stories at me. You know what it's like. You start to follow the algorithm. Yeah. Then it gave me this story of a man who shoved a metal ring on his to try and make it bigger. Has it cut off by firefight? Has what cut off? You can't just say it in a sentence that's got two things in it already. I mean, I hope the firefighters didn't do that. I'm sorry, sir. I'm afraid we have to cut it off. Which one? It's very important what we're talking about. But it was the ring that they cut off, by the way. Okay. And if we go back to it, look at the caption on the picture. The man had the ring stuck for 4 months.
Ooh.
Not able to go through a metal detector for 4 months. And did it impress the women that he was having sexual relations with? I guess it did when firefighters turned up. Absolute fantasy. Which then, speaking of stories that need detail, this one, horrified woman accidentally gets meow tattooed on outside of lip instead of inside. We need to know which lips, don't we? Because they're talking about outside and inside. So thankfully, they showed us some pictures. Are you ready to see what we're talking about, Eric?
I don't know if I'm ready.
This is a picture of what she wanted, like the picture you would take to the tattooist to say, could I please have this?
Okay.
So it's handy in case you want to say meow but can't be bothered to say it. It's handy. You just whip it down like that. Yeah. Here's what she got.
I mean, wouldn't you feel it and go, I don't feel that.
I don't know. But the reason I feel really, really sorry for her is because, look, firstly, that must be really embarrassing. But you can't even sulk about it, because it's just going to make it worse. Then we move on to this news story from the Daily Star. The MI5's hiring for 45 grand a year a fitness guru so that the spies aren't getting too fat, which would ruin so many of the fantasies. You know, like Mission Impossible, trying to crawl through some vent and then just gets wedged in there. Fetch the butter. Whoa, are you trying to lube yourself out? No, I'm just peckish. So fat spies would be a worry. And I think it would ruin what James Bond's like. When they're looking for a new Bond and everyone's thinking about diversity and representation, having a fat Bond might be good in terms of like having a positive attitude to body image. Yep. But it'll ruin the films because you'll end up getting scenes like this.
Now, pay attention, 007. I have the latest equipment for you.
Laser-guided missile pen or grappling hook tie?
Not this time. You've been issued with this.
What is it?
It's a Stairmaster. Help you burn some fat.
Does it explode?
It might when you stand on it.
And what's this?
This is only as a last resort. This ring has a secret compartment with a pill in it, and...
That's a cyanide pill, Q.
No, it's a laxative. As I say, last resort.
And what's this?
The latest gadget. It's an air fryer.
Actually, I want one of those.
Yeah, everyone seems to want air fryers these days. Obsession.
On my Christmas list.
And that's my Daily Star Roundup.
We need a jingle.
Yeah.
I wonder if we get sponsored by the Daily Star.
I'd love it. I mean, because the Bugle was linked to the Times for a good long while, and it really helped launch that podcast. This show should be featured on the Daily Star website. Yes, yes, please.
Definitely is more. We are definitely more Daily Star level than Andy Zaltzman and John Oliver, the Bugle level.
They are both top flight satirists, and I did a joke about robots having nuts. So we're Daily Star.
It made me laugh.
Exactly. That's the problem right there.
And all of our viewers.
Yeah.
Up there. Live.
All of our views.
Right. Well, we've just got one more quick story to round us up. It's a little update from before you remember the insurrection and the attempt to destroy the American democracy. Well, they've been prosecuting a lot of these guys, and some of them have been caught, which is incredible because some of these guys that participated in the January 6th riot are criminal masterminds, as we can see from this headline here. A rioter who filmed himself assaulting an officer has pled guilty. Now, the first rule of Insurrection Club, don't film yourself and post it. He had to do both things. He had to film himself doing it and then go, this is a good idea to put online. And there's a lot of examples of this. There was one guy that was bragging about being at the insurrection on his dating profile. Woman turned him in, which is, so glad I don't do internet dating. That's what you do on your profile. Let's just put all the things you've done wrong and all the crimes you've committed. That's how they catch them. And then, of course, others have been bragging to family members who've turned them in and so on. But this fuckwit filmed himself and posted it. And suddenly he's in jail and probably still believes in Donald Trump. Oh, yeah. And
he'll have that attitude of, because he knows that police officers and security people have body cameras. Well, I'm filming it too. Well, then that's just even worse for you if you're breaking the law.
Yeah. So not much on that other than just, if you're going to participate in the next insurrection, and there's one coming, don't film yourself. That's the lesson.
Oh, dear. Well, there we go. The brain trust still alive and well.
So there we are. Yeah, I think we've covered all the news of today, Tuesday the 4th. Let's just hope there's no big stories that we haven't covered today on Tuesday the 4th.
Yep. And if there is, sorry about the jokes about the king earlier. We didn't realize.
It's not that this was pre-recorded the day before. I'm sure everything will be fine. There won't be any stories we're missing because it's not like the news changes a lot. By the time this goes out, they'll have reinstated the tax again.
Yeah. There'll be a new prime minister by the time. Everyone will be like, why is he still talking about Liz Truss? Let it go, Steve.
Jeez. There we go. So thank you for watching. As we said at the beginning, subscribe, like, share, all that shit. And if you liked it and you have spare money now that your taxes have gone back up again, so maybe you won't have that extra money.
Do you reckon we had a lot of 150K earners watching this video?
Big time.
Okay. We're a good demographic if you'd like to sponsor us, Daily Star, because we get those kind of people in.
I think we get a lot of our viewers are Daily Star.
Don't throw the hate at me for that comment. It was him who said it.
I like it. Love a good sex doll.
Yeah.
There we go. So I guess we will see you next Tuesday or the Tuesday after that.
Whichever comes first.
There we go. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.